Back for the hill climb. Take 2, full power. 3, 2, 1, go. This is the Crazybird Jumper, a 250 watt e-bike that will easily get you up hills. Of course, there must be more than meets the eye, because if you've seen other 250 watt e-bikes on the channel, you know that they struggle. So how does the 250 watt Crazybird get up hills? Well, it's actually a very powerful e-bike disguised as a totally legal e-bike. So let's take a closer look at the bike and find out how they do it. Let's start with the easy bit, the throttle. Now, it came with no throttle attached, so attached to the bike you've got a normal handle, very nice handles by the way, a little bit stick out to kind of give your hands a little rest. But then if you want to, it's not really fully tightened, so you can easily slide that handle off, put the half handle on with the half twist throttle, which I've decided to do, of course. Now, handy thing about this throttle on this bike, which I always like, is that no matter what pedal assist level you're in, the throttle always works to maximum, which, to be honest, I think should be like that on all the time, because you never know when you need to get out. You know, you need to get out of the way of something. So I could go down to pedal assist 0, so I've got no power helping me, but if I decide to do the throttle, off I go, up to 15. It cuts out. Yeah, this one definitely cuts out after 15, 16. But it feels pokey. I'm hoping that when it comes to the hill climb, although it won't go over 15 miles an hour, it should still be able to get up the hill. Now, if you're watching this thinking you're in the market for a powerful e-bike, not just for getting up hills, but also for having an assist speed that's above 15.5 miles per hour or 25 kilometers per hour, then don't worry, you are in luck. Remove the battery and undo some hex screws, and underneath the battery slot, you'll find a couple of wires plugged together. Undo those and you'll have a delimited bike. To limit again, you can just plug them back together or put a speed limit into the computer, which is much easier and much easier to reverse whenever you take the bike off-road or to America, like us. 25, so no power from me. 26. 27 then. In our last video, we talked about whether a powerful e-bike that's been limited to 15.5 miles per hour and had its throttle disconnected should be legal. Definitely check that video if you haven't seen it, especially if you want to see more of the Crazybird Jumper. But in the meantime, let us know in the comments what you think. So, does that restrictor affect the hill climbing ability of the bike, or will it make the bike act like your ordinary 250 watt bike and stall around the big tree? Let's find out. 3, 2, 1, and go. Right, okay, so we're in miles per hour. I can change that in the settings on the computer. 13, 14, 15, and obviously now it cuts out and stays at 15. It's not getting a nice run up that a lot of other bikes would get, but it's still going. Well, restricted, it gets up Sandy Lane in a very good time of 1 minute and 5 seconds. De-restricted. Right, okay, now we're getting the speed up 16, 17. Obviously before it got limited there, so we couldn't get much of a run up. But we're still topping out at 17. There's probably not going to be that much difference, to be honest, because most of the way up it won't be going faster than that. It gets up an even better time of 1 minute 3 seconds. That's an extremely good time, but also not that different. Mainly because most e-bikes don't go over 15.5 up that hill when under their own steam. But now we know the bike's fast and torquey, let's find out a little more about it, including its inevitable faults. Under no power, up the little hill, 9 miles an hour. It's pedalable, it's not too bad. Screen's nice colour screen, very bright, very bold. Currently the GPS is matching up with the speedo on the bike. Hydraulic brakes, by the way. Right, do I feel it? Yep, kicks in pretty much straight away. Already got the light on because it's getting dark. Yeah, about 11 miles an hour of pedal assist 1. It's going to 2. Ghost pedaling. Pedal assist 3. 15. 16. Here we are at the lights. Handy to have the, oh, here they go. Handy to have the throttle. Suspension is lockable. It's got front suspension, no rear suspension. It's not locked at the moment. It feels like a good stiffness. Like it's not too soft that I feel like I'm just going up and down all the time. But it is kind of ironing out the bumps slightly. And this is a very potholey road. It's a really nice chunky bike, this. I really like the way it looks. I like the drop frame as well. The fact you can just step through it. Just so easy to get on. Okay, so there's a lot of good stuff about the bike. The range from the massive battery is amazing. It's obviously powerful and it seems put together well, and it looks great too. Considering it has a drop frame that would usually make the bike seem a bit boring, on the Crazybird with the thick down tube holding the big battery and the BMX style handlebars, which by the way only come with the step-through version, it makes it look like a bit of a monster in a good way. Let us know in the comments if you prefer the look of the step-through or the high bar. It's a bit weird that they advertise it as a 750 watt bike and they give you a throttle, so if you want a throttle, that's great. I think that's a great idea because all e-bikes should have a throttle, so I like that they've included it, but it's a bit mixed messages because on one hand they're saying, look, we're legal, we're not going to let you go over 16, but on the other hand they're also saying, here, have a throttle, and hey, our bike is 750 watts, which is obviously illegal. But what I'd say to that is, if you're going to go around on this bike, and I hope I'm not speaking too soon because I'm still on the bike, I just can't see anyone ever trying to pull you over if you're going at 15 to 16 miles an hour when there's Deliveroo riders shooting around at 30 miles an hour. I don't know why they didn't just do what other brands have done, where they've just had their bike classified as 250 watts but secretly it's more powerful. I don't really get that. Just say it's 250. And what I don't know is, if you buy the 250 watt bike, is it actually 250 watts or is it just the same motor? Because usually what they do, they have a powerful motor and then they limit the speed. But the speed's already limited on this. Can you hear that? That is Shimano Tawny gears, unadjusted out of the box. Right, second's alright, let's go back to first again. Sometimes it can sort itself out. There we go. It's kind of like turning it off and turning it on again. It's your standard 7-speed Shimano Tawny, one that you get on all bikes. This one needs a bit of adjusting on the low gears. Other than that, the others seem fine. The other ironic thing about this is that despite only being able to go 16 miles an hour with assist, they've given us hydraulic brakes. Generally, if you're only going 16 miles an hour, mechanical brakes are just fine. I like hydraulic brakes. So I've noticed the one brake, the rear brake, isn't as strong as I would have liked. Two possible causes of that. That is that the brake pads are worn, which they haven't because they're brand new, or the system is a bit low on the fluid. It's got too much air in it. I'm only going 16 and it's pretty good, no drama. And what I like is these seem to have loads of grip. Right, there's no rear light, so I should really turn the lights on my helmet. That's the personalised e-VRC helmet from Basecamp Boards with a rear light, very handy. Well, as the light goes down, as the sun goes down, you can see that the front light illuminates the path fairly decently. It's not the strongest light in the world, but it's going to get you seen. Sadly, again, there's no rear light. You can see from the video that it's a heavy bike. By the way, you might think that the non-step-through version would weigh more, but you'd be wrong. Probably due to the extra strengthening needed for the step-through because it doesn't have that high bar connecting it together. The high bar version weighs 2 kilograms less at 42 kilograms. You don't feel that weight when you're riding under power, but because it is heavy and it's got big wide tyres with lots of rolling resistance and only 7 gears, it's harder to push the Crazybird over the maximum assist speed, at least compared to road style bikes such as the Ebike EC1 we reviewed a few weeks back. It's not necessarily a problem, but it does mean that when the bike is in legal mode, if you want to be going over about 16 miles per hour, you might get a bit sweaty. 26, 27. So without trying too hard, 27. Obviously you could delimit the bike and use the computer to increase the assist speed slightly to about 18 or 20 miles per hour. It's unlikely to get you into trouble, but you can never be 100% sure. And if you're buying this to be able to say you've got an e-bike that follows all legal specifications when it comes to speed and no throttle, then it kind of defeats the purpose. The price of the bike is definitely worth talking about. For $1.5 grand, I would have liked mudguards included, since without them, a bike just isn't viable as transport in wetter countries unless you like arriving to work looking like Swamp Thing. Also, it does seem a bit more expensive than some other e-bikes of similar power. By the way, at the end of the review, if you do decide you want one of these, there is a link below, but not only that, you can use the discount code e-VRC, which will give you a 6% off the price and bring it down to about $1,400. If you do use our link, it is an affiliate link and it will help out the channel. Despite those negatives, the bike does look really good and the materials do feel really high quality. The Bafang motor is definitely worth talking about, as most e-bikes at this price point wouldn't have a Bafang motor, that have a no-name motor. Bafang do make exceptionally good motors. The packaging was also excellent, with everything really well packed, and I mean really well packed, more so than usual. Here's what you get in the box. In the box there are tools, pedals, stickers, 2-amp charger with UK plug, lights and reflectors, quick release mechanism for the wheel, and an optional thumb throttle and a foot pump. That pump is really nice, by the way. It's a shame that my brakes needed adjusting because they're very good brakes. I'd like to see manufacturers include a bit of brake fluid with their bikes. That way, if they do need adjusting, then they don't have to order a kit from Amazon or go off to Halfords. Adjusting hydraulic brakes isn't quite as easy as adjusting mechanical brakes. At this price, I'd also like to see a higher spec Shimano gear set used. An 8-speed Altus isn't much higher in the range, but they are much better. The Tawny gear set here is fine, but they do need to be well adjusted, otherwise they're going to get clicky. Of course, gears aren't as important on e-bikes as they are on push bikes though. I'm glad the suspension can be locked out, but it would have been nice to be able to adjust it too. Also, if you did want to take the bike off-road, the big tyres meant that it can cope. It's not really an off-road specialist, but it could easily cope with whatever you throw at it. However, without rear suspension, it might become a bit of a bumpy ride. On potholy roads, however, the big fat tyres really make for an extremely comfortable experience. Luckily, the gears, that's a very easy fix. Just turn a few screws until it works. The brakes though, being hydraulic, like I said, not as easy. But apart from those two things, I really like it. It's a really nice bike. It looks amazing. It looks chunky, it looks futuristic. I like the big wheels. Something about 26-inch fat tyres. They just look a lot more impressive than 20-inch fat tyres. So that was the Crazybird Jumper, a very nice and very powerful e-bike, and perfect if you want to ride a legal configuration e-bike but also have the power to get you up some hills if needed. It's definitely worth considering over something like the Pivi Z20 Plus if you don't need the bike to fold and if you don't mind paying a few hundred more. If you enjoyed or got something from the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button or thumbs down if you didn't like it. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video, and until next time, ride safe.